Okay, so it's 6:34, and like I mentioned, that's when Dr. Finney decided we were going to start. So let's go ahead and a quick welcome to everyone that's with us this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a wet, rainy day, other than that, it's been absolutely fabulous. So I'm going to kind of start us off with with a quick introduction, some opening thoughts, and you'll see a number of panelists on your screen as well, and I'll help facilitate. We have brief snapshots of some specific areas that I like to highlight in addition to our department chairs. So again, welcome to 2020 Parents Night at Northcross School. So here we go. Welcome to Parents Night, and thank you. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to spend time with us. I want to begin by thanking the many people that helped make this possible, including Mrs. Baker with setting up the webinar, Mr. Lamas and Dr. Proctor for their continued support, and the board for their unwavering commitment to this school. In addition, the Parents Association continues to be actively involved and incredibly supportive. Finally, I'd like to thank our students. Without them, we are not here. So a special thank you to students as well. Also hosting this evening are a number of absolutely fabulous people. Quick introductions. When I say your name, panelists, if you can throw up your hand. I know most folks can see names in the bottom left corner as well. Quick note on Zoom, I didn't realize this till relatively recently, but the view that I have it is not the same for everyone else. People are in different boxes depending on what view you're in. You know what I mean. So here we go. Susan Wink with our SCA, thank you for being here. Thank you so much. Mrs. Leanne Hamlin as our Dean of Students. Miss Julie Abbotsmark as our College Counselor. Thank you so much. And our department chairs, Mrs. Amy Jackson in the Fine Arts Department, actually in the art room as well. Dr. Wanda Finney, World Languages. Mr. Ryan DeMarco in our history department, Dr. Mike Koss, mathematics, and Mrs. Amy Bagliani, computer science. There you are. We have Mrs. Jennifer Landry in our science department, and coincidentally also our honor council advisor. And in our English department, rounding us off, Miss Polly Jones. Thank you so much. It's a fabulous background as well. Thank you so much. The most important item in my remarks is this. When you leave this webinar, please go to your inbox and watch the Loom videos from each teacher. I do have to admit that I accidentally sent mine a little early. So if you have a student in BC Calculus, you already have your video. The school year is off to a great start, strong start, with over 200 students in the upper school. That's grades 8th through 12th, and evenly split between boys and girls. We are now in the heart of the fall term with interim grades only 3 weeks away. These are interims, that is, these are a good indicators of academic progress. When you visit and watch the different classes tonight, I hope you will sense the passion, dedication, and experience that the teachers in the upper school possess. Each day, I see teachers and students stretching themselves intellectually and growing in areas of reading, writing, and critical thinking. Apart from that very important part of our program, the students remain involved in a variety of activities, including sports, music, and the arts. As always, I am interested in looking for ways to expand our already strong curriculum and continually develop our comprehensive program. Especially now, while we are in a pandemic, we are constantly looking for ways for students to be involved and be involved safely and in as many activities as possible. For example, Please anticipate another email next week concerning our B week schedule coming out of the Dean's office and our optional activity period program, a teaser, if you will. Each day is going to have a different theme, and this is in that activity block at the end of the day on B weeks, and these are completely optional. Monday, computer science. Tuesday, film studies. Wednesdays, how to create a respectable playlist. In other words, music appreciation. Thursdays, leadership. Friday, we're calling that Fun Friday, and Mrs. Hamlin is going to take the lead on those Fun Fridays. So at this time, I would like to turn this over. Specifically, we're gonna start with our department chairs first, and Ms. Jackson, I'd like to see if you're available. If not, we can come right back. If you, oh, there you are! Yay! As each panelist speaks tonight, you'll be given a brief glimpse into each specific department. Please, please, please enjoy the evening. Mrs. Jackson, the floor is yours. Go ahead and unmute Mrs. Jackson.
Welcome to Parents Night from the Art Studio, which if you have a student in art, you'll hear me say in each of those videos. But I am in the art room and excited to be with you all for Parents Night. I think the fine arts have a unique presence in the COVID world because almost every activity that we do is a vector for virus. So we have made a lot of adjustments, but we as a program and as a school are really committed to continuing the programming and maximizing how much we can have art and music and theater on our campus. And that is turning out to be quite a bit. So in the art classroom, we're not using any shared materials, but we have lots of individual supplies. In band and chorus, we're not singing or playing inside, but there's outdoor music. In theater, we are not having a fall play, but in the spring, shifting our joint musical to the spring. So with that, we have a great venture that has been announced by email even over the summer, that we are joining forces with Roanoke Children's Theater, which is now Virginia Children's Theater, so VCT instead of RCT, so those letters will change. But we are so excited to have them with us on board at North Cross. They will be helping to run workshops and run our programs and work with our theater programming here, Mrs. Jones and Mr. Brandon and all the people on campus who will continue to run theater programs and partner with them. But we are very excited about that. We have also, if you don't know, we have a fine arts distinction that mirrors the Global Studies program and the STEM certificate. So this was new as of last year, so it still feels pretty new since last year was kind of wonky. So we have our second new year. And if you have students who are interested in that, I would love to have conversations about that. Also, as parents, you have a volunteer opportunity through a parent group called Friends of the Arts, or FODA, if you have seen that acronym floating around and wondered just what that was. So it is like a sports booster club thing, but for the arts. And so if you would be interested in that, we would love to have you volunteer. Please let me know and I can get you directed to just the right place to help with that. So thanks everybody, and I hope Parents Night goes great and your teacher videos are wonderful and you just can pop popcorn and watch teacher videos all night.
That's fabulous. Thank you, Mrs. Jackson. At this time, I'd like to invite Dr. Wanda Finney to the stage, if you will. And don't forget to unmute, and the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, Mr. Balderas. Welcome, parents. This is a little bit of a different setup for Parents Night, but we hope you enjoy it and are also going to have a chance to enjoy some videos later from the teachers in the World Language Department and also from my colleagues across the faculty. I wanted to let you know that even in these COVID days, we continue to teach our classes in Latin and French and Spanish. We continue to do many of the same things that we've always done, which is try to introduce your children to different cultures through the language, and by incorporating the language into things like history, songs, literature, both prose and poetry, and art, geography, and in my case, mythology. I wanted to highlight really our faculty this evening for you, since we are joined by a new faculty member in Spanish this year, Mr. Johnson Mahaley, who will be teaching Spanish 3 and Spanish 4. In the Spanish part of our program, Rochelle Phillips has moved up to do advanced courses in literature, language, and composition and conversation. And she is she's joined by Carrie Greer in the middle school, who continues to be such a strong bridge for us between the younger children in the lower school, and then working as they work their way up through what we used to call middle school and on into the upper school. Ed Dickinson and Chris Brandon, of course, are veterans, and they continue to do wonderful work in the French part of our program. Ed with the younger children, and Chris Brandon with the 8th graders on up through AP French. And of course, I hold the fort in Latin from 7th grade through AP. So I just want to reassure you that even though we are living in strange times, I think the proverb is interesting times, that we continue to engage your students in the language that they're studying. If you do have any questions about your students' progress in any of the 3 languages that we teach, please feel free to reach out to us. We're always, we're available by email, by Zoom meetings, and by phone, of course, if you would like to talk to us that way. And again, enjoy the videos, and I hope you enjoy hearing from the rest of my colleagues this evening as well.
Dr. Finney, thank you so much. To piggyback somewhat on Dr. Finney's remarks, I have to give credit where credit is due. This actually came from Mrs. Jackson, putting her on the spot a little bit, but making the distinction between socially distancing and physically distancing, I think, is incredibly important. We are focusing on physical distancing as opposed to social distancing. I just had that thought, and I thought I would share that. I think that's a really important distinction. But as we move on, Mr. Ryan DeMarco in our history department. Sir, the time is yours.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan DeMarco, and this is my 3rd year at Northcross, so relatively new in terms of the department chair world, if you will. So in the history department, we've had, of course, we are dealing with what everyone else is dealing with in terms of COVID. But we also kind of had a little bit of a side volley from life. And if you heard the news, Mr. Robillard had a really terrible bicycle accident, and he right towards the end of the summer. And so he was not able to teach this year as he's going through recovery right now in Atlanta. But I talked to him on the phone the other day, and he seems in relatively good spirits. So he and I are always in constant communication, even though he is physically absent from us, I guess. And so at the end of the summer, life kind of threw the history department a curveball, and Mr. Balderas called me and asked me to serve in this position as the history department chair, in addition to the director of the Global Studies program. But I would also be remiss if I didn't talk about my colleagues as well, who are so awesome and are stepping up to the plate in the history department. So we have Heather Slaughter in 6th and 7th grade history, and she is joined this year as well by Jared Hansen, who traditionally teaches math, but he's helping out in our history department in the middle school. We have in our sophomore sequence, we have Amy Jackson and Robin Garrett. In middle school as well, or I guess upper school, is in the 8th grade, we have Ryan Cook, who's also stepping in to take over classes from Joe Harris's position, which are going to be 11th grade and 12th grade history that are non-AP. We have Victor Lamas, of course, teaching AP World. And we have a brand new faculty member from UVA. His name is John Connor. He's going to be teaching journalism, filling in for some of my last classes like Intro to Global Studies. And he's also going to be taking up AP Human Geography. So I think overall, in addition to the broader faculty, but specifically within our history department, our goal for our students is to just, of course, get them to have a broad awareness of the world as well as the historical development in terms of how do we get from where we were to where we are today. And one of the things that I asked our faculty to emphasize this year is to really practice civic engagement as well as having healthy civic dialogue and teaching our students how to do that, and especially in our very deeply polarized country, deeply polarized world. How do we get students to engage in healthy debate with the other side and to learn from the other side that we can all move forward together? So that's a little bit about the history department, and I will turn it back over to Mr. Balderas.
Mr. DeMarco, thank you so much for all the work that you've done this summer and those special asks. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Mike Koss in our mathematics department. Sir, the floor is yours.
Sure, thank you. Good evening, everyone. The math department's immediate priority at the beginning of the school year has been to preserve a sense of normalcy for the students. In many respects, math is well suited for the present circumstances. It doesn't require special physical arrangements or a lot of face-to-face interpersonal interaction, so it's been relatively easy to adapt the day-to-day routine of our math classes to suit both in-person and remote learning students and to promote our COVID-19 mitigation strategies. We've been helped in these mitigation efforts by the availability of new technical tools throughout the upper school. Our widespread use of Google Classroom allows us to minimize the exchange of physical materials between students and teachers, and instead to handle homework and in-class work almost entirely electronically. The new display screens in the Willis Hall classrooms have also been a boon. They allow us to present material clearly both to in-person and remote students and to preserve this for review later. Looking beyond the immediate circumstances, there are a few goals that I've set for the math department over the next couple of years. The biggest challenge that any school faces when designing a math curriculum is providing each student with an appropriate level of challenge and rigor. Not too easy and therefore boring, but not too difficult and therefore frustrating and discouraging. To strike this balance as effectively as possible for each student, I hope within the next couple of years to be able to expand our course offerings to include more differentiated options within the core algebra sequence and to introduce college-level courses beyond our current AP offerings for students who are especially enthusiastic about math. In connection with this, when we make placement recommendations for students later this year, you can expect more detailed explanations than in the past of why a particular course was recommended for your child. This should help to ensure that every student is being placed in the course that best suits their level of development and interest in the subject. The department's also working this year to produce detailed accounts of the core content of each math course, especially those in the Algebra 1, Algebra 2, College Algebra Pre-Calculus sequence. One purpose of this is to ensure that math and science teachers will not begin any course presupposing material that students have not yet encountered. Another is to craft a curriculum that introduces material in the most natural and systematic way available, which helps students to understand the connections among what they study in each math course. The math faculty always strives to contribute to North Cross outside of its immediate teaching responsibilities. Within the upper school, Scott Wild continues to play an invaluable role in athletics as the coach of our volleyball and golf teams. And as we settle into the routine of the current year, we also plan to offer some extracurricular activities that can be conducted in a safe, healthy manner. Augie Asta intends to reawaken our chess club that was dormant last year, And I plan to start a club and workshop series for students interested in investing in personal finance, including, but not exclusively, the mathematics involved in those things. We also have, for the first time, a senior pursuing the STEM graduation distinction with a math-oriented topic for his capstone project. He's studying how fractals can be used to model complex natural phenomena. Of course, I'm always available to discuss the North Cross math curriculum or to answer any questions that you have about it, especially if your family is new to North Cross, and I especially do want to welcome any new families that we have joining us tonight. I'm looking forward to another fruitful year of math education here at North Cross, and to making the experience of studying math here as enriching as it can be for every student. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thank you, Dr. Koss. And remind me, tomorrow I actually have my senior thesis with my mathematics background was on fractals, specifically Mandelbrot.
Good to know.
I have a couple books that I've been meaning to give to you. They're in my bookcase. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Mrs. Amy Bagliani, computer science. It's your turn. We have, I am not hearing you, unfortunately. No, ma'am.
As they say, can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. My microphone switched depending on where I am. I am not only the chair of the computer science department, but the only computer science teacher at this point. So if your child is in computer science, they have me as their teacher. And I have made videos, so once you get off this web, you can go and see all these lovely videos that I made just the other day. So what we have this year and what we're offering in the upper school, and actually we have opened it up. I mean, we have 8th graders that can take some of these classes, and I have a few 7th graders that have come. We have Intro to Computer Science, which I have changed, and I'm teaching it mostly in Python and then Java. Half a year of Python, half a year of Java. Then we have our Advanced Computer Programming, which is an extension of Java, and it's a great jump from Intro to AP Computer Science A. So then we have AP Computer Science A. And I'm also teaching AP Computer Science Principles, which is our 3rd year having it this year. And it's probably my biggest class that I've had to teach for principals. So I'm very excited about that. We have more and more students joining every day. I had one join just 6th period, joined my intro class just today. So some of the other things that I'm hoping we can still do this year is coding club. I've been investigating some of the virtual coding competitions that the students could possibly participate in. There's some virtual robotic competitions. I haven't found one yet, but I'm looking into it. I have signed up for Girls Who Code Again, so I'm hoping to make an announcement next week to try to get some students to start forming a Girls Who Code club. Coding club that will be the same thing, and then hopefully on this Monday Computer Science Day, we can do some HTML or some processing. I'm looking into all that right now. So anyone who's interested can come join that. I'm also still coaching tennis. So and lastly, even though we're in the middle of a pandemic, with our capstones, this was a great opportunity for coding. Coding allows you to be anywhere, and you can take control of, I can communicate with students and take control of their computers if they need help. Well, we have 3 students this year doing their capstone on programming. One has already built a website, and we are waiting on the database to now be built. That's going to model sort of like our Snack Shack. And I also have one that is working in Unity and trying to build a game. So that's an exciting thing, and that's a great thing to be doing during this time when we have to have physical distancing. So that's what we're doing in the computer science department this year. And if you have any questions or any ideas, or if you even want to help with a coding club, perhaps, just let me know. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Bill Dowers.
Mrs. Bagliani, thank you so much. The Department of One, Computer Science at the moment. Very, very good. Next up, we have Mrs. Jennifer Landry out of our Science Department, who's been at North Cross School. You are starting your 15th or 16th?
16th. Yep.
16th year.
Yeah.
That's that's how I figure out how long I've been here. She came in the year before Miss Avismark, and so we're starting our 15th year, Miss Avismark. Well, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you. So this is my 16th year at North Cross. And this year, as I have for several years now, I'm the department chair. Also with Miss Bagliani, I'm helping with I'm one of the coordinators of our STEM program. And this year I am back to Honor Council Advisor again. So feel free to contact me if you have questions about any of the above. I want to introduce my science department to you first. I teach chemistry. We have 3 levels of chemistry in first year. We have conceptual, regular, and honors, and I teach all 3 of those. And then as a second year chemistry course, I also teach AP chemistry. In the past, I've taught a few electives, but this year I'm focusing on my chemistry. We have Mrs. Dickinson. She teaches biology, AP biology, and environmental science. We have Dr. Nagany with conceptual physics, AP physics, and this year he's doing an introduction to astronomy class. And then we have Mrs. Basile in Eaton Hall, and she is teaching the 8th grade science, and this year she has taken over one of my former electives, which is the forensic science class. So I'm very excited about that. We have a number of goals in the science department. The first one is really just to continue our hope of exciting students about science. So in the lower school, that's really what science is about, is getting them excited about the idea of science and hands-on experiments. In the middle school, it's similar, but we're also hoping to give them a little bit of content and some skills in the lab. In the upper school, again, we're hoping to get them excited about science with the idea that maybe they'll go on in the sciences. But we're also working on content, making sure that we give them what they need to move on to the next year's science course, giving some of our students what they need if they decide to go on to a second year AP level course. And also it's important to me that we're really making sure they have enough basic understanding in science that they would be considered science literate, so they can follow and discuss some of the global science issues that face our world, including the pandemic and whatever else comes up. You know, when we're preparing our students for the AP level, again, we're preparing them for those college level courses, whether we're talking about preparing them for the exam itself or for being able to skip that class in college and move on to the next level. One of the other big focuses for me this year is to make sure that despite what's going on, we are keeping our focus on including hands-on activities in all levels of science. So I worked all summer, and our faculty are working on ways to keep science safe, keep lab an experience that every student should have. We have a number of new safety protocols this year, including new goggle cleaning, gloves, a bunch of things that we're working on to make sure that students still have that wonderful hands-on experience in science. And then finally, as Ms. Bagliani talked about a little bit about STEM, we do have our capstone projects going on right now. One of them is in science. So that is in the field of science and looking at electromagnetic metals. So that's pretty exciting. And we will, Ms. Bagliani and I are trying to kind of get the year started first, but we will be sending out information about the STEM program. So for those of you who are not familiar, please feel free to send an email to myself at jlandry@northcross.org or Ms. Bagliani at abagliani@northcross.org. And we'd be happy to talk to you about the science program or the STEM program. But we will be sending out some information and letting you know what is available for that program. While it may not look exactly the same this year, unfortunately robotics will not be happening this year due to distancing, we are going to be coming up with some other wonderful activities. So I look forward to getting back to you on all of those. That's it. Thank you.
All right, I think she knows she's next. Miss Jones, it's your turn out of our English department. Yeah, go ahead and unmute. I think you're still muted. Yeah.
There you go. Okay, working the little buttons isn't always the best thing for me. Okay, so I am Polly Jones. This is my 9th year at North Cross, and I'm delighted to be chairing the English department still. I have wonderful faculty members, and I hope that all of you will look at the videos that they have prepared for you later. Ms. Robin Garrett is teaching 8th grade this year, which is not new to her. She also, as Mr. DeMarco mentioned, is teaching the English component of the sophomore sequence with the 10th graders who are taking composition. And she is teaching British Lit with 11th grade this year. That's a course she has taught in the past, but has not taught it for a while, and she's really excited to be moving back into that role. Mr. Ed Dickinson is teaching 9th grade English and doing a wonderful job with some really foundational work with literature appreciation and with composition skills that we try so hard to make sure that our students are bringing forward from what they've learned all through lower school and middle school and taking it to the next level. Mr. Josh Kyer is teaching 10th grade American literature. And he is also teaching to 12th graders thematic literature, which is primarily a world literature basis. So the students are exposed to literature from different cultures and everything in that course. I teach AP courses, and this year we are focusing, the course that we are offering this year is AP Literature and Composition, and we have a lot of juniors and seniors who have chosen to take that course. So we're all excited about the different courses that we're teaching. One of our goals always is reading comprehension and appreciation. And I think appreciation in a broad way of so many different kinds of literature, and even the rhetoric, the logic, okay? But then a lot, of course, short stories, poetry, drama, novels at every level. And it's wonderful to be working with a staff that throughout the years in high school, the students can experience a lot of different literature and see the focus that some of us bring to some of it. The composition is always, I think, front and center, and something that we think so much about and that you as parents think so much about, because you want your students to be able to express their thoughts successfully, both for high school courses and for those coming up college courses. So we all work diligently to make sure that they are getting more sophisticated at that and not just writing the same way that they have always written, but using those foundational skills to move them forward to college level work. And of course, supporting that vocabulary development and some students' favorite, actually, grammar and mechanics, to make sure that they're still building those necessary skills. So we're delighted to have your students with us. I'm going into another year of a course we always take, English. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And I sometimes do go to Miss Jones and dial down on specifics. Particularly, I remember struggling with when I was in high school, the difference between farther and further. So those specific pieces, I lean primarily on Miss Jones for that. So thank you for being a fabulous resource in those pieces. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to our college counseling department and Miss Julie Abbotsmark. And the floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. I have prepared remarks. It's only 17 pages. So because of all the work our teachers are doing that you've been hearing about, North Cross students are prepared to go to college and be successful. So, you know, thank your teachers every day, students, for this. You really, as has been reported to me over and over again over the last 15, well, I've been there 14, this is the 15th year, the students come back and they're like, I knew how to write a research paper. I was the only person in my class who actually could speak French. So you guys really, because of the teachers, you have a step above, and that makes my job easier because the colleges know that, and my job is to make sure they know that. But tonight I've prepared my remarks mostly for the 10th, 11th, and 12th grades. But please know that I'm happy to meet with any student or parent at any point. I have a great new office up in the front of Willis Hall across from where you'll find Mrs. Mayo and Mr. Balderas. And I'm also happy to meet via Zoom or phone or email, whatever. Please don't hesitate. As with everything else right now, the college admission world has been turned upside down because of COVID. There are no in-person college visits. College fairs are virtual, and visiting college campuses is not even an option. Students have been encouraged by me to take advantage of virtual tours, virtual interviews, virtual information sessions, and virtual college fairs for schools where they're interested. I'm planning to schedule a couple of visits where, we'll have Zoom and a representative from, let's say, Virginia Tech, which we have a lot of interest in, will be on the screen, and we'll sit in there and do like a little class with them. But they're not set yet. The colleges are still trying to figure everything out, and we are too. It's an unprecedented year in which over 550 colleges and universities have become SAT and ACT optional because students in the class of 2021, which is the senior class, have not had opportunities to take the SAT and the ACT. Whole entire test dates were shut down in the spring, and then the upcoming fall tests will take place only at test centers where the exams can be offered safely and where the test center can find people who are willing and able to work. So it's still really iffy for the seniors. Test optional means that SAT and ACT scores will not be considered when admissions offices are reviewing applications. So grades, course rigor, activities, if you can do them, and essays are more important than ever. Test optional does not mean it will be easier to get accepted at certain schools. And colleges do understand that everything that you plan to do over the summer and last spring and now this fall, you just haven't been able to do that. And that is not just a Roanoke problem, that's a national and even a worldwide problem. So don't worry about that. Do what you can do. Colleges are making adjustments. We have a leg up at North Cross because one of the things that I'm doing is making sure colleges understand that we had full-blown school all the way through to the end. And our grades, were for the whole year, and you guys continue to work. And that's not the case everywhere, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I just want colleges to know that that's what we did. So that will be helpful, I think, for our students. As for the younger students, everything's really up in the air for you. Colleges are currently trying to recruit the seniors and have not announced in many cases whether they will remain test optional for classes beyond 2021. A few have. They've announced a 3-year pilot program, and so that does include sophomores, but that's a really small number of schools. So as I read articles and emails and so much information every day, and I will compile it and send it out at various intervals. To send it out, I've created email lists for the students and parents of each class, and I periodically send college-related emails, and the volume of those emails accelerates year by year. Freshmen, you're not going to hear much. Sophomores and juniors, some. Seniors, a lot. Please read my emails. I'm sorry they're long. Make a file, save them, go back to them when you need them. I try. I did get the parent email addresses out of fax, which is the new computer system. And if I'm emailing you on an address you don't want me to use, just let me know what the right thing is, and make sure your parent contact information is correct in there. All right, now for the younger students. Sophomores and juniors, we're gonna offer the PSAT on October 14th. This is on the hard school calendar. Because we are in uncertain times, there's a chance we won't do it if stuff goes crazy, but for now we're planning to have it. Only North Cross students will take it. The proctors will be North Cross faculty and staff, and the testing will take place in small groups in Willis Hall classrooms. We are not going to do a large group in the cafeteria, which is something we've done in the past. It's in the 18-person classrooms. Usually we make the PSAT mandatory, but we're going to make an exception this year, and it is optional. I will need to know who's going to come and who isn't so I can staff the testing rooms, and I'm going to start sending you emails about this pretty soon for the sophomores and juniors. Lots of details. I like details. I hope you do too. Students who feel comfortable being here to take the test really should come and take the test, because the PSAT is excellent practice for the actual SAT. Please know that there is no makeup. So if you don't take it, or if the student is sick on the day of the test, that's it. They can't make it up. And also currently, and probably not this year, the College Board does not offer an online version. So students who are distance learning at North Cross, you're welcome to come into campus to take the PSAT if you feel comfortable. But please also know that you're able to opt out of it. It doesn't hurt you for college if you don't take it. It's just really good practice for when you do hopefully get to take the actual SAT later this year, juniors, hopefully. So stay tuned for more information. And then juniors, once I get through the bulk of the college application deadline season, which goes until about mid-January, I'll be ready to have a college meeting with each one of you and your parents or guardians. And in that meeting, I'm going to ask you to tell me what colleges you're interested in. So please start thinking about that if you haven't already. I can help you get started if you don't know where to start. And there's a lot more, but you know, we're not going to talk about everything. So thank you for listening, and please let me know if you have questions or want to meet. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Abbotsmark. At this time, I'd like to introduce our Dean of Students, Mrs. Leanne Hamlin, for a few remarks. Mrs. Hamlin, there you go.
Thank you. Very exciting hearing from all of our faculty members. And I have to laugh a little bit. It's really nice to see everybody unmasked since we're masked the whole day, which I'll get to COVID mitigation in a minute. But ultimately, you know, I want you to know our students have been very excited about this school year. We're wrapping up week 2, which is essentially, you know, the first 2 real weeks of school, A week and B week. My student is located in the new Student Center, which is very, very exciting for students. Students with study hall have the option of having study hall in their proctor's classroom or in the Student Center. We have a lot of great new furniture. We actually got new furniture today. And again, I have to laugh because it's not where it's supposed to be, because to honor physical distancing, we have moved everything apart. But again, our students there, you know, you get the sense of feeling appreciative and grateful that they are able to be together every day. Again, dress code, we know there's no formal dress code this year because of COVID. But to speak just a little bit on COVID mitigation, masks, students have been doing a very, very good job wearing their masks. Yes, occasionally it'll come down a little bit. We need a couple reminders every now and then. With regard to the physical distancing, it's getting better every day. Overall, they're doing a very good job. You know, we do have to give the reminders when, you know, they get excited and get close together. We have to, you know, remind everyone to separate. So really, it's the forming of new habits that we're all learning, but our students, please know they're doing a really good job, and every day is getting better. So again, forming those new habits. And really lastly, I just want to let you guys know, I have been reaching out to our new families that are here. I have not gotten to everybody. My goal is to continue that and complete that by tomorrow, or the very least beginning of next week. And that's grades 8 through 12, just to reach a hand out and to get your feedback on how your student has been doing the past 2 weeks. And please know that, you know, if you ever have a question regarding your student and you have no idea who to ask, that would be me. I'm the person to go to for any academic concern and to help navigate those conversations with the appropriate faculty members, as well as any other social or emotional concerns. Again, being the also director of counseling, so wearing that hat as well. And lastly, I know Mr. Balderas had mentioned, well, I'll be sending something out next week regarding that resource period, which is the end of the day for B week, which is what we're finishing up tomorrow. We have some great ideas that will be coming to you all for your student. And you've heard from faculty members that there are going to be some wonderful opportunities for clubs, and this will be a really great time to do that. So we're really excited about that, and we're really appreciative. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hamlin. Really appreciate you. And at this time, Mrs. Wink.
Good evening, everyone. It's so great for all of the families to be joining us tonight. My name is Susan Wink, and I have the incredible job of being the Student Council Advisor at North Cross School. And it is an incredible privilege to work with your children every day at North Cross. I started 7 years ago. And when I started, it was a group in student government led by Sterling Moscow, who wanted to start traditions at North Cross School. And he wanted to start with traditions such as pep rallies and having a homecoming dance. And 7 years ago, we had the most amazing homecoming dance, I hope, ever in North Cross history, that has continued year after year. We actually have students who not just get to our dance at 8 o'clock, but they stay to the end of the dance till we say, it is time for you to go. They do not leave. They dance the entire time. The music is incredible, and it tells you how great our student body is. That our dances, our pep rallies, the traditions started 7 years ago, continue. And every year, our student leaders want to add new traditions to take place. We have student faculty competitions. If you look at the wonderful people who have just spoken, our students love to have competitions with these brilliant minds that you just listened to. And they have played Name That Tune against our faculty. We have played all kinds of competitions, from Name That Tune to dodgeball tournaments to anything you can think of. And we have a student faculty cup that we display. It is so unattractive, and we fight hard for it, which only creates an even greater bond between our faculty and our students. Our student government is also involved in community service. Our student government is also involved in sportsmanship. We lead assemblies with the lower and the middle school to talk about sportsmanship. We have bowling nights. We have winter Sadie Hawkins dances. I can go on and on to the finale, which is our incredible senior trip at the end of the year. And then 2020 hits, and here's this incredible senior class that we have ahead of us, and we're not going to stop. We're just going to come up with new traditions, new things that are going on. I don't know if you saw at the very beginning of the school year, the upper school student leaders did a video. MC Hammer, I'm old school, I love this music. MC Hammer, we did a video, You Can't Touch This, because you can't touch this during COVID. It was a great job. We had parents involved, faculty, students. I hope you got to see it. We're working on videos now to meet our new students, because sometimes it's hard with everybody wearing a mask to get to know everybody. We also have a great freshman class that has come in, and we have wonderful new students from other schools and areas that have joined us, and we want to get to know them, and we want them to get to know us. We want them to enjoy all the new traditions that we're going to create this year at North Cross School. So tomorrow, if you happen to be watching our morning announcements, we have our first new student that you're going to be meeting this year. We're going to do all of our new students, but we play a game with this new student so that person can get to know us better and we get to know them better, because we feel we're a family at North Cross, and we want to welcome all new students to our family. So you can see why I love my job so much. I get to be around student leaders, which is your children, all day long, and I absolutely love what I do. So please look forward to a new 2021 year at North Cross School, where if you think that the dances in the past were so great, what can we come up with? Well, that's our job. We're going to come up with things that are even better, that I hope we can look back at 2021 and say, wow, we never thought that this would happen or we could do these things. New ideas are coming. Thank you for joining us tonight. I cannot wait to meet the new families. I've loved meeting the new students. And for our seniors, it's going to be a great year, a great year. So thank you to all the families tonight. It is a privilege to work with all the people on this panel. Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much for presenting. A couple closing remarks, and I specifically held off on saying a genuine thank you to Miss Charnice Mayo. If you have called the school at all, you're probably running into to Miss Mayo on the phone. She also sent. She's responsible for sending out weekly cross ties. So a number of announcements are there that went out earlier this evening. Please take a look. It's honor code assembly announcements, school pictures, PSATs, Ms. Avismark mentioned, fall interims, those kinds of announcements. And she's directly responsible for a lot of that information that gets pushed out. North Cross School doesn't work without Ms. Mayo. So a special thank you to her as well. I have an explanation point next to it as well in my closing remarks. So with that, thank you so much for participating in Parents Night 2020. At this time, take a little break, if you will. Go pop that bag of popcorn, open up that email, and take a look at some videos that are waiting for you from the faculty. And thank you so much and have a great evening.